Okay, knight's developed. Let's bring the knight up. As usual, bring the bishop here. Let's develop the knight. Let's take the pawn. I'm going to leave the knight. Take. So you will have seen these millions of times. So this is why we like the pawn being here. It's stopping the knight from moving here. Smaller piece attacking the higher piece. Bishop usually goes back. Then we bring the knight here. Bishop's attacking the bishop. So we take with the queen. Yep. And we're happy with that. And then we'll say, well, this pawn's going to get a bit of pressure on it. So we need to do something about it. So we're going to bring the bishop, attack the bishop first. Get it off the back. And take the bishop off the board. Keep it nice and simple, straightforward. This pawn now has got a bit of an attack coming from their rook. Our knight is on the edge. We don't like that. So we're going to bring the knight back into the middle of the board. And that is it. That's all we're going to do. It's tempting to push it here. It's almost like he's brought the queen here to bait the pawn. So we're going to go with our rook opposite the queen. Just in case it all kicks off. It's brought the queen here to support the pawn. So that's very clever. But we can just block that and attack his queen with a smaller piece. So he's no longer defending their rook. So the queen comes across, defending the rook still. And at this point in time, there's a little strange maneuver that's going to occur. I'm going to take the rook. And this will be kind of upsetting for the opponent. I'm going to bring the rook up. They'll come down for the queen, of his king, sorry. The king can just move out of the way. So in their heads, they're thinking they're winning. They're +1. Queen's done a lot of obliteration. Let's move the queen out of the way. But again, it's kind of, is it working the pieces together? That is my question. Get the king to safety. Queen's on a white square, so it's probably going to come back here. Oh, exact move, exactly. We know what all about you do. Yeah, so we're going to push this pawn here just to stop the pawn getting the knight for free. Their rook is opposite our queen, so I think there's inroads towards maneuvering our queen out of the way. I think the pawn is probably going to come. It really wants to come here, so it may bolster this pawn and then push. Or push this pawn to bolster this pawn, whichever way around you want to work it. Our rook is opposite their queen at the moment, just they do have this knight supporting. If we got this pawn up a little bit to bolster this attack on this pawn, very mindful obviously, their rook is on our queen. So we'd have to work it out, get the pawn pushed here, get the queen, oh, it's not doing any of that. So we take, then the pawn takes, the rook is on our queen. So the pawn is going to be in the middle of the board, but I don't really have a problem with that. But we don't have to do what they want us to do. That is the key thing. So could move the knight out of the way. Where is it going? Could take this pawn, but it's got 2 pieces on there. Simple as, yep, and we were planning to move the queen over. Don't think I mind doubling the pawns in this situation, but maybe we just hang fire with that. Could bring it here just to be a bit of a nuisance, or we could take this pawn here. It's probably going to start lining up somehow to attack around here. The rook's coming round the back, and we do have a check on his king with the queen. Do we stay on the white square? White square looks like it's blocking us. Do we go dark square and keep the diagonal? Going to go dark square and keep the diagonal. It seems to give us a little bit of leeway to come back towards our king. And he's keeping the square. Can't go here just yet. If we bring our queen here, then we could go here. We might be too late to the party, but we'll see. Let's bring the queen here and look to see if we get a trade. They might beat us to the punch and just bring the queen here. And then he's supporting it twice. He's not doing that, he's attacking the rook. We'll put a check on the king and hit his rook. Get a check on his king with the queen. And is there any benefits now? Can we keep putting checks on their king? We're on a dark square. It's probably coming down for our pawn here. If we come here, we're looking to take this pawn or take this pawn. But he does have sights of attacking our pawn on the back, making space for these pawns as well. So initially, maybe the queen, no, sorry, this pawn probably coming to defend, because the queen wants to get active, taking these pawns. The queen's actually come defend, he's still coming to attack this pawn here. And do we have any checks on his king? We do, but he can just make his way around, so we might have wasted that movement. Or maybe it comes back and defends the pawn, and then we'll miss the opportunity to take a pawn. And so he's still on this pawn here. If we take, then he takes our pawn. He's got like a proper passer. So I'm just going to bring the queen back, protecting the pawn at the minute. Oh, let's attack the queen. Didn't see that at all. So, ish. Don't you just hate them games? But that's the, ooh, that's the curse of the chess players, isn't it? So he's not wanting to trade. We go here, he just drops, puts a check on. What else do I have? It's +1. Push. Can't even go around the back because he just comes here and puts a check again. Let's push. Got the pawn. Let's put a check on. Let me be able to chase this king around and get a draw. Come on. Go here, then he just goes here. I don't really have a check on him. Ah, that's annoying, isn't it? Go here, he drops the pawn. No, he's not going to drop the pawn. He goes there. But then if he goes there, we've got the check. So that's probably the better position, isn't it? Put the check on the king. Put the check on the king again. Trying to hide here. Can keep putting checks on. I think he's +2, so really his queen is going to look to try and interject, isn't it? Let's put the check on. Currently his queen's on a dark square, so it's not able to interject, but he's trying to find a position that interjects. And it doesn't look like it playing like this, but let's hit it again. Looking to try and get onto a dark square, but ooh, yeah, he's blocked off that area, hasn't he? So I'm going to put the check on. Yes, they know what they're doing, and that's the position I didn't want because I can't get any more checks on. And now his queen can come down and start putting checks on us. Ah, man, I tried to avoid that position. And they still got it. Because I can't go here. Can take a pawn, but he's just putting checks on me and then passing this pawn down. Oh dear, there's nothing else to do on that. Checks, like I said, just check, check, check. But if he goes check, check, checks, it's a draw, isn't it? So we're happy going for a draw. But he's going to be looking to exchange the queen off. It just keeps going up and down. Go onto the white square. Does it make a difference? Attacking the pawn. Take the pawn. It's causing me problems. Got a check on us, get back onto the, don't really make a difference, does it? It's going to put a check on us anyway. Let's move it out of the way. this must be me putting checks, 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 and if I got this, that would be checkmate, because yeah, exactly. So it's my turn for the checks now. He needs to get in that same position again. Can't get his queen off, can I? He's probably making his way down here, but let's go with this. Again, he can go there and I can't put the check on. Let's put the check on here. Yeah, I've got to avoid doing that, haven't I? Because he's just going to go there and I've got no checks on. So if I go here with a check, then we can just keep the checks going, can't we? So he doesn't want this pawn taking, so he's going to go back. Protect the pawn. So he has to come here. Anyhow, we... Oh, this is checkmate. Yes! And a do. Shall we try something absolutely totally different? Because we have done those openings forever and a day, and I'm sure it's time to see something new. Let's just bring the knight here. Not going against the basic principles of chess, but let's just try something different. Probably end up in the same type of scenario anyway, so we bring the knight out, so the picture still looks the same. And we're going to attack the bishop. So even though we didn't start the same way, we still ended up in a position we feel comfortable with. Could hit the knight with the pawn. Where's the knight going? Could attack their knight. I'm tempted to do that one there. We have that sort of shape. Going to attack. Going to attack. Don't need to overthink it. Well, they don't have to take. Knight's going to be under attack, so we need to make space for it. So I think if we just bring this pawn here so that the knight can come back to a safe place when it gets attacked. Yes, they're looking for this here. We could take, because it's like a gambit. It does open up space around our king. What's the benefits? We could hit their knight just to see, well, what you're actually doing. So I'm going to hit their knight and see what you want to do. Swings over. Could hit their head of the snake, but he does have the knight supporting. So we could take the pawn just to save any confusion. Knight moves. We can take the knight again just to save any confusion. Pawn's got no protection. Queen's in the game in front of our king. It's got 3 pieces on the pawn, so there's no real point in actually trying to go for any of that. We can attack their rook with the capture of the pawn. There is this position, it's just that bishop can take, the pawn takes. So currently +2, but it's, you know, it's not a big position that we've got. Sliding the bishop here, getting a check on the king. Looks nice, but do we get it? We have to deal with what they're going to do next. The rook is either coming here. Excuse me? Alright, so they took a long time over that move. So are they looking to do this? Because they're saying, I'm going to get the rook back anyway. We take. Bishop comes here. Bishop comes there. Our bishop can't interject, because the bishop just takes. Pawn could hit their queen, but then pawn just takes. So it's not helping the case. And can't do any of that. Only thing we can do is move the king out of the way, but the tempo is the rook's just going to get away anyway. There might be benefits though, because if we do take, you know, we've taken their rook, then they're coming with the fancy business because it's a mate threat. So we push the pawn, they take, our queen can take, or the bishop can take, their rook takes the knight. So are we really losing out in any way, shape? I don't think we're majorly losing out. Bishop could come and protect and have that diagonal onto the pawn. Does allow the rook to escape. I think I like that one better because, as we mentioned, this can go here, put a check on the king, just moves the king a little bit. I'm going to go with the bishop. Then the rook attacks the knight. Knight's got a safe haven here. It's a bit of a botheration for them, isn't it? Nice position. Yep, so bring the knight here. Is he developing a 2-on-1 on this pawn? So the bishop can't get in to put the check on the king at the moment. Oh, they are doing. So all simple chess. So the bishop can attack, but we would lose the pawn. We are up a pawn. Or we can bring the bishop back. But then if we bring the bishop back, he's still got that position of attacking the pawn. And if he brings the bishop back, the bishop can come here. But what I think is they'll then take the bishop because the pawn can't take back because of the queen. So it's all a little bit fancy at this moment. +1, and we're going to win the queen. Take the queen off the board. Just realised because the queen had moved itself off of that protective area. But they're still playing strong, so we're not winning anything. The bishop could take this pawn, could attack the rook. I'm going to take the pawn just to give them something to think about. Probably sit the bishop here. Could take another pawn. I really wanted the bishop to stay on this diagonal though. I'm going to take the pawn. Go for a bit of destruction. Ooh, 2-on-1 type thing. What's happening here? There's something funky happening. I'm going to bring the bishop back. Ooh, going to hit the rook. So they have to move out of the way. Probably, I thought they were going to attack this pawn. Right, so they're moving real fast. I think they might be upset. If we attack the pawn. Going to attack the pawn. See what they do. If they take, the rook takes. It's not doing that. If we take, just take. Put on their rook. Rook's got no protection on. So we'll take with a check on the king. They seem to be playing a bit frantic now. We could attack their bishop with an X-ray, so take with the pawn. It's X-ray through to the king. That got a bit frantic very quickly. We've got to check on the king and we can reduce down. I don't think there's a... Let's take... It's blocked our rook. But our rook can move. We can hit the knight. Where's the knight going? Gonna hit the knight. Got to check on the king. Just move the king. And do we not have a check on his king at all? Nothing. Just bring the queen up. Just try to make space for this rook. Get in the game. Put a check on. That might have been wrong actually. Just come here. Careful of my king. come here, then we can go for a mate threat. If he doesn't block with his rook. Oh, ideas. Anything else? Take the pawn. Making me work. Come here. Then the knight comes here. Oh, let's go here. Another mate threat. Knight goes there. Take. Reducing down. Okay, don't rush it. Rook's not going to do any. Let's push. Let's take. Let's push. And take. Interesting games. Proposes a take back from what? The beginning of the game? Ten and oh. Funky opening. Just play nice, steady. Just get castled. Let's hit this center. This feels like left hand driving. Let's just take the pawn. Let's hit the queen with a smaller piece. Let's take this pawn. It's causing problems. Let's take with the rook, owning the file. Well, it's not really owning the file with these bishops. Let's attack the bishop, giving them something to think about. Let's get this bishop out. I don't think there's much that it can do. Could attack this pawn, baiting, well, attack the bishop, baiting the pawn. But I think it makes it a little bit too lively and our knight is going to get hit. Could get hit now, but see if we can get these doubled. Although it's really bad doubling when you've got bishops protecting the squares. They don't get much purchase, but we can put a check on the king and get his dark square bishop off the board. But no, they've gone for the exchange, which potentially allows us to get doubled. Ah, hold on, don't rush it. Knight's probably looking to block here. I suppose we could do this, but then it's attacking the bishop. Let's think about this. Let's think about it. He's going castle in. Okay, I bet any money that happens. Right. Or maybe they're going castling first. So we've got to bear in mind he can do that. Let's attack his knight again, give them something to think about, rather than them blocking our rook. Take because we're supporting the rook. And take. And then we get the knight. And now we've got the pin through to their rook. Put a check on the king with the bishop. And if we get the bishop here, we'd be able to get a checkmate. But I don't think they're going to fall for it. But let's see anyway. We just come here. Looks like they may have left the game. Ah, well that was an interesting game again. Having some fun with these training games. That'll do. Ten and oh. Let's push through the center here. Let's just block the bishop. The snake is not going to be lasting for too long. Let's get the knight up, supporting. I don't mind the 20 pointer losing castling rights, so we're prepared for that. It's a minor detail. Let's just see what we can do with what the opponent's given us. Doubling the pawns if anything. Let's get the rook supporting the pawn. Obviously looking for a check on the king. Bring the bishop here. And the knight there, push the pawn, get the king here, get the rook here. That'll be my focal point, depending on what the opponent does. Okay, that looks fairly safe. Let's get the knight out. So that's one. Pawn up, king across, rook here. So 3 more moves. But this bishop's got the rook chomping at the bit to double up on it. But they've got a few more moves themselves. Got to move the bishop out of the way. I think the knight's attacking the bishop myself. Okay, yeah, so they moved the knight. So push the pawn. So 2 more moves. Well, 3 really. The knight is in, it's attacking. I really don't know what it's attacking. It's done all of this movement. I'm going to just continue with the move. And then get the rook here. Let's take the bishop off the board. Like I say, it's chomping at the bit, but don't really know what that knight's doing there. Let's just bring the rook across, supporting the bishop. There's no real rush to move the king to the side and back now, because I don't think there's any immediate threats. Like we said, we're looking to double up on this bishop. We're going to attack the rook. Maybe try and get doubled ourselves. Rook moves. Do we continue with the doubling? I think so. Could bring the bishop here. The knight will take. We take his rook. If we come here, he drops on us. We come here. Well, that should be alright, shouldn't it? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we're going through the brain pulling stage now. So bishop's protecting the pawn. Obviously they'll be looking to do this type of thing. So let's just double the rooks up. In the end game. Okay, delicate maneuvers. Take. 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 Attack the pawn. Obviously, we know it's going to push down. Knight in the middle. We know it's going to get hit again. Exact move. Let's just bring the knight here. We knew it was going to get hit. And they're moving quickly now. Let's just attack the knight. Knight's coming here for the pawn. Oh, this pawn rather. Yep. We're predicting all the moves. And let's hit the knight. Looks like we'll get this pawn. Don't know if we can get this pawn or not. King's probably just coming to defend. Yeah. Hang fire. So the practice that we've had in these end games recently, I really want to get better at them. So we're +1 now. We could attack this pawn. He just moves it down though. We can't then attack this pawn because his knight's defending. But we could push on to the knight. We could push on to the knight now. Yep, and that's what we're going to do. Just doing this, then he drops. It's almost like a bit of a waste of a move. So we want to improve the quality of the end game. And when I first started playing over the board games, basically that's what I was told anyway. You know, work on your end game. My opening and my mid game appeared to be half decently okay. It was just the end game. So it's a consistent theme throughout my chess play type play. Is that, yeah, focusing on the end game really is going to make me a little bit better, I think. But you never can tell when you're in the throes of the game. So the knight's attacking our bishop. We're attacking his knight. So we can attack the pawn. So we're attacking two pieces now. The pawn and the knight. The knight wants to escape. I mean, it can jump here, I'm not sure. But it's not going to go there. So yeah, it did want to escape. So we're getting another pawn off. So hopefully, thankfully in this game it's looking like the position's working better for us. He's come and defended the pawn, he's also attacking, so we do have space to bring the bishop back. So it's not saying we've won anything, because now look, we're +2 and now we're going to lose a pawn because of that. So we could come here. Is that too close? No, his knight can get us here. If we go here, do we need to go and support the pawn? So let's just go here. They take, right, so they're feeling good that they've taken. We can come and start getting activated with our king, which can only be a good thing really. It's just his knight can start jumping in, putting checks on. Right, we want to get better at these types of things. We are winning, it's +1. These can look after themselves. Got the majority here. got active knight. The knight can come and attack. Going to brave it and throw the king in. And somehow try and get their pawn off the board and corral one of these to a promotion. That's as basic as it's going to be. We don't want to lose any pieces. They're doing the same thing, bringing their king in. Maybe they're looking to trap our bishop. I think bishop's got scope to move, can attack this pawn. Just going to lock down here. Our king can then come around the back. Oops, excuse me. Interesting situation. We could do that, you know, bit of a distraction. Knight blocks something. Yeah, blocks us from going there. Okay, options and choices. Could get rid of this pawn. Let's hit this pawn. I think we've got a kind of a subconscious mental plan of the king making its way up there somehow. So we're almost throwing these pawns to the wolves. That's the big strategical plan. We can now take the knight off the board. It's got the fork. This pawn is going to be bothersome for the opponent. Like I said, I think our plan is to try and get the king across on the other side. Knight's constantly blocking that area, so we will have a bishop. I think they'll just keep it there and take. Their king might get to here, so we need to close that off up. I don't think we can because the knight's just going to jump here and put a check. We'll see how it transpires, but I think they should be losing their knight because they're going to have to stop the pawn from pushing up. It's putting everything on white squares in preparation, and then the king's sliding here. No, they're not. Let's go here. That felt like a nice transition into this end game. But let's see, because we can fluff it. Just because we've got a bishop, he comes across, we come across. We come across, we're going to get the pawn. I can't see a problem with it really. Take. It's not going to save any of the pawns. And they've resigned.